Good evening and a warm welcome to the virtual Year 9 Options evening. I'm Jane Epton, I'm the Curriculum Deputy Head, and this is a pre-recorded presentation which will be available after it goes live this evening. And please, can you look in the hyperlink below your presentation in the description, where a member of SLT will be monitoring your questions during tonight's talk and afterwards as well. And we will endeavour to get back to you as soon as possible, if not in real time. This evening we'll be covering the overview of the Key Stage 4 option process, looking a little bit ahead at careers, education, information, advice and guidance, looking at the specific way that GCSEs are graded, looking even further ahead to sixth form options, how you submit your option choices, and the Q&A, not necessarily by the chat function, but via the description box underneath the YouTube clip. First of all then, all year 10 and 11 students will follow the core curriculum, and this is for all students. So all students will take English language and English literature, and they will therefore get 2 GCSEs in English, or study maths, and then students will study either separate sciences, biology, chemistry and physics, or the combined science, the trilogy. Now this is still looking at biology, chemistry and physics, but they will get 2 GCSEs. So students sitting the combined science trilogy exams will sit fewer exams but still focus on biology, chemistry and physics. Separate science students will take 3 GCSEs and will sit more exams at the end of year 11. It's likely to be that the top 2 sets will take the separate sciences route, and the other 2 sets will follow the combined science, the trilogy route. Students also sit non-examinable core PE and beliefs and issues lessons, and this incorporates both religious education and personal, social and health education. All students will have a games afternoon too. Then the students will choose 3 option subjects, and they can choose from the following subjects: art, business studies, computing, design and technology, economics, French, geography, history, and for the first time this year we're offering Mandarin for those students who've been studying the MEP programme, music, PE and religion, philosophy and ethics. So students will choose 3 of those options from the list above. And the option process, really, it starts tonight with students and yourselves thinking about what the option process and what options they'd like to choose, and then all the information will be available from Monday the 1st of February. We will be emailing you all the link to the options booklet, this presentation again, plus the actual information on how to make your option choices as well. So the option process itself becomes a discussion for yourselves. Start talking with, students talking with their parents, teaching staff. You can do that remotely, contacting your specific subject teachers, via tutors, housemasters, head of year, Mr. Williams, and myself, if you have any particular questions about the option process. Guidance sessions themselves will be delivered through remote assemblies. Mr. Williams is planning to deliver an assembly on the option process, and also through the beliefs and issues lessons too. It won't be the first time that you hear me mention this date, the Tuesday the 23rd of February. It is important that you stick to that option choices deadline of Tuesday the 23rd of February, because after that I will start to put the option blocks put together, and that will fix the option blocks, and it will be more difficult to make changes after that date. So Year 10 options, students then will choose 3 preferred option choices and 2 reserved options. And I'll go through at the end of this presentation on how you choose that, or how you do that via the tools process. I'll make absolutely every effort to accommodate students' preferred choices. I aim for a significant satisfaction rate for as many students as possible to give them their first 3 preferred choices. Rarely do I have to go to 2 preferred, 1 preferred option and 2 reserve. I often will hit maximum of 3 for as good as many students as I possibly can. But Inevitably, staffing and timetable constraints will have an impact, so please choose your reserve options carefully, as you may get one of your reserve options. And the allocated options, once the 23rd of February date has passed, then I start to move the option blocks around to see how many students can fit into their first 3 preferred options and how many may have to have a reserve option. Because after the 23rd, if you send in your options after the 23rd, I won't be able to factor in your son's choice into how I might formulate the option blocks. So it may be that once the option blocks are fixed, you won't be able to go for, or I won't have factored in which one of those option blocks your subject needs to be in. So please, if you get them all in by the 23rd of February, then I can factor that in to my thinking when I'm trying to put the option blocks together. So how should your son choose a course or one of the options? Firstly, in terms of subject content and skills required, the option booklet will guide you through the topic areas, so make sure that you do your research on looking at what content is covered. It might not be what you first thought, and the different skills that might be required. And that could be specific skills as in art and technology, or it could be in history and interpretation of information. So think about not just about the subject content, but the skills that you might need to be successful in those subject areas. Is it interesting? Motivation is really key. You'll be studying four lessons per week for your chosen options, so it really is, you need to be motivated to be successful later on. Is it relevant to future plans? I know students are in year 9, but some students might have a very clear plan. Some students might be looking at games design, and therefore computing will be a useful one to do. If you're looking later on, you might be thinking about picking up a language. All of those might fit into your future plans if there is a plan. Is previous attainment appropriate? I mentioned already that we're introducing Mandarin this year. You would have to have studied Mandarin as part of the MEP programme in order to choose Mandarin as an option. Different assessment methods, that could be, is it non-examinable assessment, sort of coursework or practical project work, or is it mainly examinations at the end? And then the level of independent learning required. Some GCSE options require you to do a little bit more independent learning outside of the classroom. How not to choose your options. Students really shouldn't base their choices on what their friends have chosen. It may be that their good friend, they want to be with that person, and their friends have their own particular reasons, and you might not be as motivated as them when it comes to making that decision. The teacher, I'm already deep into timetabling for next year, but I can't tell you whether the same teacher that they think they might be getting will be taking that subject, and so that wouldn't be determined or decided, finalised until September. Other students' experiences. It may well be in the boarding house, or students that they know say, oh, I didn't enjoy it because of this, or I did enjoy it because of that. It's really about you making those decisions for yourselves. And sometimes one good test or exam result. More often than not, when it comes to later on in the year, a student will come and see me and say, I want to move and switch my option from subject A to subject B. And when we explore the reasons why, it's because they've done really, really well in one test, but actually they don't really want to do that subject. So it's not just about one good test or exam result, it is about motivation and really being interested in that subject area. Just a quick word on the GCSE grading and how your son's GCSEs will be awarded. All GCSEs are linearly assessed, and therefore all the exams will take place at the end of year 11, with all GCSEs graded 9 to 1, 9 being the highest. And just a quick word on the government benchmark. So the government's definition of a strong pass is set at that grade 5, the international benchmark. Although a grade 4 will continue to be a level 2 GCSE achievement, and DfE has assured us that it does not expect employers, colleges, etc. to raise the bar to a grade 5 if a grade 4 would meet their requirements. Just a note on our provision for careers education, information, advice and guidance. A few things here for you to bear in mind, and we're looking therefore at the moment in these uncertain times as a virtual tutor programme and remote assemblies. So Mr Williams has been doing remote assemblies and tutors are checking in with students on a weekly basis. Beliefs and issues lessons continue, and the pastoral care system with our keeping in touch calls as well. This is something that you might be really interested in. We're unable to look ahead to putting our normal careers convention in place in school, and the local authority have put together a virtual careers expo. So the link here is available until 14th of February, but it's definitely worth a look and think about careers and what subjects might be relevant to those. Unifrog, and there's a code here for you to use to click onto Unifrog. It takes you through to all sorts of careers options and how that might link to universities or further education studies. A really useful go-to source for anything to do with careers and information. Work experience opportunities at the end of year 10 and 12, they are likely to be a virtual experience this year, and therefore we'll come back to that when the time is right. A link through to the sixth form options. Again, it's about choosing subjects that are interesting and enjoyable. As I've said before, motivation is key. You don't have to necessarily choose a GCSE option, a particular subject, in order to pick it up later on for A level. And again, are there career pathways left open if there is one? These are our current sixth form options that are available at the moment, and it's really some of those subjects students will not have picked up before, some they can continue their study in, but they're introduced new subject areas like psychology and politics that they might not have studied before. So it's just thinking about what career options are available, what sixth form options are available, but not necessarily do you have to have studied the GCSE to pick it up at A level. Just a really important date for you to remember. I did say I would mention it on more than one occasion, the 23rd of February. That's the deadline, please, to submit your option choices. That's when I start looking at everyone's options, choices, and try to best fit as many preferred options into the 3 option blocks as I possibly can, given the staffing and the timetable constrictions that I work within. Then in March, I'll send the final options letter to you to confirm the subject allocations, whether you've got your 3 preferred options, whether you may have your 2 preferred options and 1 reserve option, for example. And it's at that point then that you can, within the fixed option blocks, you can make changes if the blocks allow. We don't know what's going to happen yet with the Year 9 examinations. I've still left that in as early June when the Year 9 internal exams would go ahead. And again, we'll have to make decisions about that later on. Just a few points then to remember. Please can you go through, there will be the link sent out to you on Monday, along with all the other information that you need about choosing the options and making those option choices in tools. The booklet, the GCSE option booklet, has got all the information that you need about each GCSE option. Ask subject tutors for further guidance if you require. Specifically, what do you think in terms of my current progress? How would that help me if I chose your GCSE option? Consider skills, not just the subject content. Do you have the right skills and aptitude to pick that GCSE? Choose options, subjects for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. Motivation is key. And choose your reserve option choices carefully, because you may end up with one of your reserve options. I did mention I'd say this again, but can you please submit your options by Tuesday the 23rd of February. It's not a first come first served basis. I leave everything until that date, and then I start going through and making sure I can give everyone the best possible number of students their first 3 preferred options. Any changes, even if it's after you've submitted your first set of options and then you suddenly change your mind, if you could let me know as soon as possible, please, and then I might be able to factor in your new change, your updated option choice into my option blocks. Contacts your son's tutors, housemasters, myself, Mr. Williams, who's head of year, Mrs. Ferguson, who's head of careers, education, information, advice and guidance, and also Mr. Orr, who's head of sixth form. Please email any one of the team and we will be able to get back to you if you have any queries. I've got a few useful websites here. I've checked all the links. They all seem to be working as of today. Unifrog, again, your password is on a few slides earlier. Connections, our local authority careers webpage, they also have a little choosing your options. Education.gov.au, that's a DFE site that covers quite a lot of the updates on how education, and particularly the current climate for exams. Career Companion and UCAS. This is the UCAS website for choosing your degree options, and that is quite a way down the line, but for some it may highlight what GCSEs or what particular A-levels might be relevant for a particular course. So sometimes it's a useful starting point to work backwards with when you're thinking about GCSE choices. And then you've got what uni, and that's sort of how different students rate their universities and different aspects of their experience of university. And then finally, not going to uni. Now, many of these will have information about apprenticeships, different career paths for your son to have a look at too. So on Monday the 1st of February, along with this PowerPoint, which is also available on demand after this call ends, you'll be emailed the link to the option booklet, and that's got all the information that you need about both the core subjects and the option subjects, and any assessment detail that you might need. So that's your first port of call from Monday. That will go live to all parents for you to help you make your choices. Then you'll also receive instructions on how to submit your choices using what's called the Tools online system. So that's just a timetable option system, and all the information is on there. You'll receive the URL address. You'll get your username and password on Monday the 1st of February. That's when you'll be able to access the tools system, and then you'll be able to submit your option choices whenever you're ready before the 23rd of February. You click on that part of the tool system and you get example instructions which will guide you through what you need to do. There is a link to the options booklet again, although that will be sent out for you too. And then you'll enter your three choices. So there'll be your reserve option, your preferred options, so 1, 2 and 3, you put a rank order for that, and then the reserve options also that you would need to put in too. So 3 preferred options and 2 reserve options. Okay, please note your reserve options must be different to preferred subject choices. So if you put in art, business studies and computing as your preferred options, and then you put in art and business studies as your reserve options, that doesn't really give me any option or anywhere to go, and it may actually have a negative impact on me being able to offer those choices. Then if you click on finally submit to option choices before Tuesday the 23rd of February deadline, and if you have any problems with the tool system or being able to access that, if you could contact Helen Weston, our examination secretary, she will be able to assist you. Now, there is a link underneath the presentation where you can just click onto that, and it opens up forms where you can put in your details and your questions, and then either myself or Mr. Orr can get back to you this evening or at a later date if we pick up your questions later on. And finally, please take care and stay safe, and if you do have any queries, please contact any one of the team to answer your queries via email or via the link below. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.